and welcome to Achieve with Carolina Lives, Sleep Conversations with Carolina. So let's try this again. We are going to be having a very important discussion today, and it was an anonymous, I'm actually leaving it anonymous, the question, but it's quite important because I know that when, I talk a lot about obviously sleep training and the importance of sleep, but I don't really talk that much about what can happen when you start sleep training. Now, lots of good things can happen from it, but then at the same time, when you start something new, a lot of interesting things might happen. And I know that many sleep trainers don't really kind of go into the depth of it unless you work one-on-one with them, and then they know more about what is kind of going on in your story. So if you guys, hi Luba, hi Patricia, thanks for joining. So if you guys have any friends or anybody that you know that is starting to sleep train or is in the process of it, highlight their name in here, let them know, share this video, and we're gonna get started in a couple of minutes. So this is gonna be a really, really important video, and we're gonna be talking a lot, like I mentioned, specifically on the factors that when you start sleep training, what realistically can happen when you actually start implementing changes not only in your child's behavior, but also changes within their schedule and really synchronizing it with their biological rhythms, because lots of interesting things can start to happen. Hi Angelica, thanks for joining. So I'm gonna wait for a couple of more minutes for everyone to sign on. Today was actually a really, really cold, frigid day in New York. So, I hope you guys are dressing warm because I had to whip out all my winter clothes. Can't wait until summer starts again. And winter just hit. So how was your day? Let me know in the comments. Let's have a little chat while we're waiting for a couple of people to sign on. Nope. Quiet. A lot of cool things are going on with Facebook Live now. All these interesting little gadgets that they have. Quite fun. So, I guess we can begin because it's already 10:16. And, a little housekeeping that I wanted to talk about is from now on, because I've been getting a lot of messages from parents that they can't get on at 10 o'clock, either that they're trying to put their kids to sleep or they're just so super duper exhausted themselves. So what I started to do is I have every Monday and Wednesday, we're going to start to do videos. And I'm going to have every Monday, it's going to be at 11. And then I'm going to keep my evening times at 10 for Wednesdays that we're going to do that. I had a little bit of technical difficulty tonight when I was trying to sign on before. So if you can't make it to the evening one and you are watching the replay, I want you to type in replay in the comments. If you are on here live, thank you so much for joining me. And again, I'm going to be doing live videos also Mondays at 11. So if you can join during the day, that will be fantastic. Hey Miriam, thanks for joining, guys. So now we're getting a bunch of people on. I want to start chatting, and if you have any questions, you can always type them in the comments below. Again, please share this video. You can share right now. You can even highlight your friends, their name right below. The more people that we can get on here that we can help, the better that it will be for everybody. And there's only so much that I can do that Facebook allows me. So it's really important if you guys can share it as well. And if you like the video, like it, give me a heart, give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you guys are feeling about the topic that we're going to be talking about tonight. So now let's get started on to the question. Hey Maria. So the question is that I got from an anonymous mommy. I'm just going to read it from here. So I started sleep training and everything is worse. There are 5 a.m. wakings now. Naps totally suck and the night wakings are still there. Hey Nicole. I don't want to go back to how things were, but I can't continue with this either. What do I do? So what I was saying before is that when you start sleep training, It depends on your child's behavior. And of course, when you are starting to implement anything new in creating a healthy sleep foundation for children, is you need to work on a couple of factors. One is what I keep drilling all the time, is making sure that your child's biological times, that their natural sleep rhythms, is synchronized with an age-appropriate schedule. So that's the first thing that I want you to really look into deep when you start sleep training. And then the second thing is obviously their behavior. So when you want to use a method, and it can be anything, from the most gradual to the most direct, and in some cases, when you are using a gradual approach, the most common is, like the chair method, which is also known as the Sleep Lady Shuffle. And then we have like pick up, put down, which is usually used best for infants or for newborns. So it's like under, let's say, like 9 months and younger to use that method, because it works really well. When you use things like that, any type of an approach, once you already have the schedule intact, everything else, you got the associations out of the way, now you're just really working on on making sure that the way that they're falling asleep is healthier, and you're going towards reaching your goals, right? So when you start using a gradual approach, for some children, if they are really, really persistent and they have a very strong attachment to a parent, sometimes using a gradual technique, two things can happen. One is you might have to work a lot longer with the gradual piece, meaning it can be a month or it can be 2, and in some cases it can even be 3 months. So it depends on how slow you're actually moving, but as long as you have a plan put in place and you keep progressing with it. And then the second thing that can happen with a gradual approach is that you can actually have more tiers when you are working on a gradual method. And I know that sounds a little weird because there are lots of methods that say, the no cry solution, tear free, things like that. It's not true. When you start to implement anything new, when there's change that starts to occur in a child's atmosphere, in their environment, and they can't talk, they're going to respond by crying. And that goes for anything, really. It's not just for sleep. It's if anything that they are not used to and there's a change, that is how they're going to react. And the best thing that you can do is 2 things. One is to create a very strict plan that is going to get you results. And then 2 is you have to stay consistent. I drill that all the time. Consistency is your key, and it's your savior when you are sleep training. Of course, that when you are being consistent, it has to be within the proper plan of it. You can't just throw something and stick to it and no budge. You need to make sure that what you are implementing is proper with their sleep schedule, and also whatever method you're using has to complement your child's behavior. That is super, super duper important. So when this mommy wrote to me that she started sleep training, everything is getting worse. 5 a.m. wakings are happening now when they weren't before. Naps are starting to suck. The other thing that starts to happen, and it's actually common and it's part of the process. It's kind of like when you as an adult are trying to change your behavior, right? So for an example, I'm going to use myself. And I myself have coaches that I've invested in to help me with various aspects of Achieve with Karolina, and also within my own life, such as life coaching as well. So it's a huge part. And I always believe that if you are hiring someone in a professional way to help you, that they also need to invest in themselves as well. So that's something really big that I really believe in. Now, the coaches that I work with, they are unbelievable. And yes, there are times that they push me. But the main thing that I realized when you are changing your own behavior into growing into something new, into something beautiful, is there's a process, and it's called the hero's journey. And that is what we go through as adults. Now for kids, it's a little different when it comes to through that part. So for children, when they are going through a change, they some kids might hey Esther, some kids might start to protest heavily during the transition. So things might have been a little easier before you started sleep training, and now all of a sudden they might be crying even more. They might become even clingier. Some kids, when you start taking them into their bedroom, they might start crying right away. They might have tears even before you hit the area where their crib is. So it's normal. It's part of the process of sleep training. Yes, it happens for some kids, and yes, it might not it doesn't happen to all, but it does happen to some. So I want you to kind of understand that it is normal for that to happen if your child, while you're training them and while you're helping, I don't even want to use the word train because it sounds like you're training a dog, but you're teaching them how to sleep in a healthier fashion. That yes, their behavior will kick in. They will protest. Some kids might protest heavily. It all depends on your child's behavior. So when you know how they will react to things, you will know, obviously, since you guys are the parents, that nobody knows your child better than you. So understanding in how persistent your child is, you have to be 1 millimeter more persistent than them. And what that would entail is that you really coming up and creating a very detailed sleep plan and you staying consistent with it. It's very important that you do that. So regarding the 5 a.m. wakings and the naps that are not happening really well, and then the night wakings, that all falls into play when you first start sleep training. So what realistically can happen? Let me kind of walk you through like the first 2 weeks, right? When you start sleep training. So when you begin, some kids, it can happen really, really well, like the first couple of days. And then all of a sudden, around day 5 to day 10, kids usually do regress at that point. What that means is that there's certain levels that can happen. Sometimes children might start crying more. Sometimes they might protest more. Or it might be the complete opposite, where everything is just going really smoothly. So again, it just depends on your child's behavior. Now, 5 a.m. wakings, if that starts to occur, what happens in that context is that 2 things. One is either bedtime is still too late and you have to bump it up, or 2, when there is anywhere between 4:30ish and 6 in the morning, that's a very light stage of sleep. So anywhere between 4:30 and close to 6, it's like around 5:45, very, very light stage of sleep. So if a child is learning how to sleep independently during that time frame, most kids do wake up, and then I always get parents telling me, you know what, they're up for the day, you know, they're ready to go. Like there's nothing I can do to put them back to sleep. So how I respond is that I just tell you, you have to keep staying consistent. You can't take them out of the crib at that time, because that is not a proper sleep time that they should be getting out of their crib. So what happens at that point, and of course this is for specific ages, if you've noticed that before they weren't waking up at 5:30 consistently, so if they're not generally an early riser, then you know for a fact that, okay, this is not a normal time for them to wake up in the morning. So what you would do in that case is you would keep them in their crib and you would implement whatever method that you are using in the middle of the night to help them with that. Now, if you take them out of the crib at that point, you're synchronizing their body to keep waking up at that time, and then they expect to be taken out. So that's not what you want to do. Now, again, going back to how I was saying, is you need to create a strict plan for yourself. So as you see, while I'm talking about and answering this question, is that there's parts that you need to really look into what needs to be changed. So to continue on with regarding the naps that are not working really well, and as far as night wakings as well, those start to get better. So bedtime has to be perfected first, and then naps really you start to notice that naps start to get longer, they start to become more beautiful, and your child starts to fall asleep easier in that. So most cases, children don't have naps and bedtime work simultaneously in one shot, just like that, right? We're human beings. We have to gradually adapt to the changes. It's not like we have on and off switches. So what you would do is you would focus first on the evening, perfect that, and then naps start to get perfected at that point afterwards. And then the night wakings, just to answer the last part of it, is that the night wakings will start to diminish as long as you stay consistent. So again, the most important thing that you really need to do once you start sleep training is to understand the process of it. And yes, it is a process, and there are points that you might kind of hit a bump in the road, and then things become smooth sailing after there. But that is also why we have sleep consultants, and that is why we have people that can help you during this process for you to fully understand. Because there shouldn't be a point during your teaching time to help your child learn how to create that beautiful sleep foundation that you feel as though something isn't clicking, something's not working, and I have to go back to how it was, which was most likely nobody sleeping or you not sleeping. So you shouldn't feel that way. Now, if you are starting to do the sleep training process on your own and you are hitting like these little bumps in the road, please feel free to connect with me. I would love to hear more about what's going on, how we can get you really situated and fine-tune some points in your plan that you have created for yourself. So me coming in with a blank canvas and to help you at that point will really kind of get you, past that and to help you achieve your goals. So you can either private message me or you could email me at itsme@achievewithcarolina.com. So you guys, do you have any questions for me? Type it in the comments below. If you are watching the replay, make sure that you type in replay in the comments. Thank you so much for watching the videos even after that they went live. Hopefully you can be part of it when we're doing them live. Every Monday at 11, I'm doing an earlier show, and then Wednesdays at 10 p.m. So if you are, again, watching the replay, make sure to type that in the comments, and you can type in your question too. So let me know right now if any of you have any questions, so I'd love to answer them. Esther says, I haven't been in here a while. I don't know if you're talking about yourself or me. Okay, so I guess nobody has anything tonight. So thank you everyone for joining me, and I'll see you next week with brand new topics. Also, we're going to be coming out with some cool things, raffles and stuff coming out the end of this month. So we're going to be giving out prizes. I'm quite excited about that. Wait, Esther is asking, your baby is 4 months. When is a good time to start sleep training? Actually, that is the perfect time, Esther. Anywhere between 4 and 6 months of age is perfection to start teaching your little one how to sleep beautifully. You can actually prevent the need for sleep training later on by instilling beautiful a sleep foundation at this point right now. So if you have any questions on how to actually get started on that, just private message me, and I'll be more than happy to start to direct you on it. So that's it. Good night, guys. Sweet dreams. Love you, and keep up the awesome work. So I'll see you guys next week, okay? Mwah. Bye.